Welcome back to the channel. I'm Louise if you are brand new here, and welcome to a different location than usual. Basically, it's unusually sunny for Scotland, so my desk is now just in a big pool of light. Not so good. But regardless of location, we are moving on to a different topic today. So today we're going to be talking all about the idea of whether it is a good decision to train at drama school or whether it's a good decision not to train at drama school. So let me start off by saying that this is an incredibly personal choice. There are pros and cons to both training and not training, and neither path guarantees you any level of success or any level of failure. So if you're going into the decision of, okay, well, I'm going to train at drama school because that's going to guarantee me this job or this agent, it doesn't necessarily work that way. Now that applications for drama schools are open and audition season is fast approaching, the thing that you need to start thinking of now is whether it is truly a good decision for you on a personal level of whether you should or should not train. And there are definitely a few things that you need to think about and a few hurdles that always kind of get in the way of people really being able to chime into their intuition and their actual real feelings on the matter. And I'm going to go into them in this video. So the first one is this idea of scarcity. The second is lack of vision. The third is lack of research. And the fourth is going with the crowd. So let's start off with this idea of scarcity. So the fundamental idea of scarcity is the belief that there just isn't enough in the world for you, that you're always operating from a place of lack or not enough, and that can be something that filters into whether you do or do not train. And that can materialize in the following ways. Either you apply to loads and loads of different drama schools and you just accept whatever offer is given to you, regardless of whether you feel like it's a proper fit for you or not. You're just operating from a place of, well, I'm just so thankful that somewhere or someone gave me a place at drama school, so I better accept it, because if I don't, then there aren't going to be any more opportunities for me. That decision is based in fear, it's based in scarcity. You're thinking that there just isn't enough to go around, and that by some freak accident, some chance of fate, that you were gifted this one offer and you have to take it because there are going to be no other offers coming. And that way of thinking can really inhibit you from actually chiming into your own intuition, your own kind of beliefs and integrity of thinking, is this school right for me? Is this decision, is this path, is this course correct? Is it in alignment with my wants, my needs, where I want to pursue my career going forward? The scarcity mindset can also manifest in this idea of only applying to particular places because you think that other places wouldn't accept you anyway. And that again is cutting off opportunity by saying, I'm only going to apply to this course, or I'm only going to apply to this school because I think that they're low enough on the rung that they'll accept me, and not actually going for schools that you think, oh, well, that's a really kind of renowned school, they've got a brilliant reputation, etc., etc., and thinking, well, they're not going to accept me, of course, because I'm only down here and they're all the way up there. It's a huge scarcity mindset, but it can also manifest in this idea that the only path to success is through training, that you couldn't possibly do it by yourself. And that, again, is total nonsense. There are so many successful actors, both in the UK, in the US, around the world, that have never done any formal training. And they're doing pretty well for themselves. With the scarcity mindset comes a lack of belief in your own ability. So if you're turning to the idea of training as the solution for, well, I don't know what the heck I'm doing and I'm not capable of doing it by myself, training will sort that out for me, then that is worth interrogating in yourself. Because again, maybe training isn't the right path for you, but you're operating from this place of fear, and the fear is driving you to say, well, no, you couldn't possibly go it alone, so you have to do training. And that might not necessarily be true. So as you're getting used to mining the idea of, is training right for me? Is training the right path? Or can I do something else? Are there other options for me? Start interrogating how you actually feel about your own ability and how you feel about this idea of training and where you're going to train from the point of view of, are you in a very much a scarcity mindset, or are you operating from an abundance mindset of actually thinking that wherever I apply, I've got a fair good chance of actually making a success of it. Or I've got a fundamental belief in myself that if I go out into the industry by myself, then I can learn and I can succeed at whatever I put my mind to, regardless of whether I've had formal training or not. The second thing that inhibits people from making a really thoughtful analysis and decision about whether to train or not is this idea of the lack of vision. So I remember when I was first applying to drama schools, and I had loads of friends in my school at the time who were applying to university because they weren't going to be actors. And a good few of them were just like, oh, I'm just going to apply wherever. and I'm just gonna, yeah, I was good at maths in school, so I'm just gonna go and study maths, or I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Oh yeah, I'll go and study psychology, I think that'll be fun. And there's no clear vision of what they're going to do with that degree, what they're gonna do with that level of study. Or even down to things like the location, where they're going to actually operate for the next 3 or 4 years. They just weren't conscious of the idea of why you're going to apply there. What's the vision? What are you going to do with the degree? What are you going to do with that training? What are you going to do? And that can also filter into just applying to drama school because, well, it's just the done thing, right? And going with the flow of it. Drama school training is intense. It's like boot camp. It's not like a normal university course where you go in for a few lectures a week. It is full-time training, so you need to be fully on board with this. You need to be making a conscious decision of that's the level of training that I want. If you're just tumbling into it with no clear vision, one, the audition panel are going to see that a mile away. They're going to see that you have no clear vision, no real want to be there, and they're probably not going to be turned on by that idea. And two, you're just going to be drifting through training if you do get a place at all. So you're going to come to the end of your training and not know what the heck you want to do. The lack of vision can also really impact on what school you end up going to. And by that I mean, maybe you have a really clear vision that you want to be an actor and you want to train, and that is totally fine. But what do you want to train in? What do you want to focus on? Because what do you want your career to be like? So many people just go into drama school training thinking, I want to train, not knowing at the end of it, you're now going to be a professional actor. So what kind of jobs do you want to do? What is it that you actually want to have going out into the industry? What skills do you want to actually have in order to create the career that you want? Too many people take a back seat when it comes to this. So start thinking really intensely about what are the skills that you want to get out of training? What do you want to focus on? Do you want to be in a Marvel film? Do you want to do mime? Do you want to do musical theatre? Do you want to do performance art? What do you want to do? Because that is going to cater to what school you apply for and what school you end up going to, or whether you think, actually, for the trajectory of the career that I want, I don't necessarily need formal training. I can learn on the go, or I can join a theatre company, or I can create a theatre company and actually evolve my career that way. The third is lack of research. So going off that idea of not actually knowing what skills you want to develop, if that's the case, you need to do your research. Find out what the schools provide. What do they focus on? There'll be some schools that really cater to the idea of the classical level of training. They'll do a lot of Shakespeare and Jacobean text, lots of naturalism, and really getting to grips with what it is to be a stage actor. And if that's your bag, research it and go for it. But there are other schools that offer other things, and that might be more in tune with what you want as well. So do the research on the schools before you make a decision about whether to apply to them or not. You also need to do really big, in-depth research on yourself, really getting to terms with, do I want to train? Do I want to have 3 years out of the industry in order to develop these skills? Or do I want to go straight into it and use those 3 years to actually build a CV, meet people, network? Do the research in yourself to find out what the best path is for you personally. And also, do research into the industry. How do auditions happen? How do agents sign people? What part-time training options are there out there? Are there workshops? Are there masterclasses? What would be the process of developing your own theatre company? The more research you do, the more you will find that there are more options and possibilities out there for you that don't necessarily prescribe to the idea of formal training. And the fourth and final thing that really holds people back from making a proper decision about whether training is good for them or not good for them is this idea of just going with the crowd. Especially if you were like me and you went to kind of part-time theatre schools and things like that before going on to formal training, you'll find that your mates and other people who are around you are applying to certain schools. So the temptation is, oh well, so-and-so is applied to Mount View, so I'm just going to apply to Mount View because they're doing it as well. Or so-and-so used this speech, so I'm going to use that speech as well because that got some level of success. Outsourcing your decision-making to other people who are not you? Madness. Utter madness. Barmy. Bonkers. Like I said, it is a personal choice, so what works for one person might not necessarily work for you. What is a benefit is being around people who are also making similar decisions, so you can interrogate it. If so-and-so is applying to Mount View, fantastic. Let's research Mount View. Would Mount View be a proper good fit for me or not? All of this is deliberate and conscious decision making for you, not for your mates, for you. So in conclusion, it would be really convenient if I had a yes or no answer to the question, is it good to train or is it not good to train? But there isn't one. because it is case by case, person by person, totally personal choice. I personally ended up training. I loved my training. I loved the school that I ended up going to, and I wouldn't change my training for the world. I also know other actors that went to other drama schools and either liked it equally as much as I liked my training, and also when I hated my training. My training was crap. I hated it. And I've also known actors, successful, happy, fulfilled actors who did not train at all. And I've also known actors who are at the very, very beginning of their journey, having not trained, who are figuring out their path. All of those journeys are legitimate. All of those journeys have a place within our industry. We need to get away from the idea that the only way to succeed is through formal training. That is an option. That is a legitimate option for everyone, but so is going it alone. So whatever decision you make sure that you are making it consciously, deliberately, mindfully, and with an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then make sure that you click like and that you subscribe to the channel. And if you've got any questions or any comments, put them below. I'd love to get back to you. But until next time, thank you so much. Bye.